Eskom employee Dorothy Mmushi says there's a plot to kill her after exposing cartels draining the ailing power utilities coffers. She says a syndicate has for a long while been working with Eskom employees submitting purchase orders for work not done. Mmushi says the corruption is in excess of R1 billion. For more on this, we're joined now by Hawks Head Lieutenant General Godfrey Lebeya, talk about whistleblowers and their protection. General, good to have you, and thank you very much for your time. Are you making headway in terms of the investigations into corruption and syndicates that are operating at Eskom?
Yeah, thank you very much. Good evening to you and your viewers. Let me first appreciate the fact that you have invited us to come and contribute to the discussion. I should indicate that we are making headways with regard to the investigations conducted at Eskom. There are several arrests that we have indicated that we have effected, and some of them already convictions have been registered. So there are obviously some of the new information that is coming forward, which we continue to work on that. Among those is the one that you have indicated, that a whistleblower has come forward to indicate that there is information that has been provided, which we are working on that. So in a sense, I can confirm that we are working on the information relating to some of the alleged offenses that are being perpetrated at Eskom.
So Mmushi says she reported the matter to Eskom, she reported the matter to the South African police. In fact, she says she's been in personal contact with yourself, and she says you have failed to make as little as an attempt at an arrest at this hitman.
Let me indicate that when you read the media article, there is an indication that the threat may have started either February or before that time. She came to visit me in March. I have actually allowed the person to come to me personally because there was no indication as to what type of information she intends to bring forward. Normally, I would have sent the investigators if I knew what type of information that is. But I needed to be hearing because there were already several matters that we're dealing with. So we thought that maybe it might be one of those. So after meeting her, we listened to her, which I was accompanied by those who support me. And we understood that the complainant was actually suspended at some stage, and that the information that she's bringing forward is actually the information that was contained in the laptop of the employer, which you will know that when the employer at times they suspend their official, they normally take the instruments that the employers work with. It is based on this information coming from the laptop that she may have observed that there were some activities regarding the emails which prompted to report to us. Without detailing what was contained there, that is where we started our investigation, and a case was opened in that regard. So the first case that we opened was in March, which we opened in Sandton, and we have been investigating that, looking at what could have transpired. Already 13 statements were obtained in that particular investigation, and several other matters were done, including the service of the summons to those that need to be compelled to provide the information. So we are in this regard dealing with cyber fraud, as well as the other activities relating to the companies that are said to have been involved in the acquisition based on the information that was on the email. So we have been working on that particular investigation, and I think attempts are being made. It can't be that we have failed. Maybe I'll come to the second aspect. Let's
talk about that a little bit more. I mean, in terms of the interim investigations, you said, and where the information was obtained from that laptop and so on and so forth. Is there an indication at this point that would tell you that the life of the whistleblower is indeed in danger, and indeed these threats are realistic and were made towards her life?
Yeah, when it comes to the threat, it is not that first docket that I'm talking about. Coming to the second incident, which is where the threat are coming in. This happened on the 25th. I think she shall have received the information on the 25th of July. And on the 26th of July in the morning, we were already interacting with the complainant so that we advise what needs to be done, which indeed we have done. On that very same morning, I actually assigned one of my senior managers, a major general by rank, who is in charge of serious commercial crime component, to engage with her. He have done that. And it is in that very same morning that the investigating officers got in touch with her to obtain the affidavit so that they can assist in registering a case docket. Based on that, a case docket was opened, an investigation was initiated, which there are several things that have already been done, some in this province, some in other provinces that I may not be mentioning. And there are also some of the summonses that we have been working on in order to identify the suspect in the matter, as the complainant self wouldn't know who the suspect is. And it is that work that we are doing to identify who is the person that is conveying these threats. So there are threats that have been made in the second instant, and we are working on that.
So you're saying that there are two matters. The one is the matter of her suspension for 7 months for what she says no reasons, and she says then her laptop was used at some point when she was suspended, and this laptop was then used to unblock the system, and certain payments were made. So I suppose she's implicating here that she was being framed for those particular payments, and she says she reported this to the police. You are aware of that, and you're saying you're quite at an advanced stage with about 13 statements that you have collected on that.
Yeah. Firstly, let me make it clear that we are not investigating anything of suspension. That is a relationship between an employer and an employee. What we are investigating is that when she returned from suspension, she realized that there were certain activities that were done on the laptop, official laptop, which she was utilizing. So those are the activities that we are investigating.
So people would ask, how do you then treat a whistleblower that says to you, I've just received this death threat? Somebody says, they were watching me. When I got in the car, I spoke for 10 minutes. And they're saying, if I wanted to shoot you, I would have shot you at that particular point. And I would have driven away and sped off. This is what she says the hitman told her. Is that an individual that you would want to bring into a witness protection program of some sort?
Yeah. Obviously, there are processes that need to be followed when we deal with witnesses, when we deal with ordinary whistleblowers who are not witnesses. And there are matters that are going to court, and those matters that are not yet at the stage where we know that they will be going to court. So it is a matter that we interact with complainants so that we can understand what could be the best way of dealing with that particular matter. There are processes including the assessment of the threat and interrogating various options, which I think some of the options she may have indicated herself as to what is that which she shall have embarked on. But these matters, normally we wouldn't like to come and talk about these things in the public space. It is a matter that we need to be sitting with the complainant and advise each other, or how do we handle this matter while we are still looking for the perpetrators.
Yeah. So you're saying 25th of July is when you received the complainant and you immediately began to act on the 26th of July. It's now the 7th of August. You believe there is a plot to kill her, and the plot could even be sponsored and could be emanating from somebody who is in the executive at Eskom. Are you investigating any of those individuals?
We investigate the allegation that she has made. Whoever may be involved in that, we don't rule out from the beginning as to who is actually involved. You see that when you are talking to a perpetrator who says, please, I have been paid this money so that I may take you out, but if you can pay me more, I may take out the person who shall have sent the perpetrator. We have got to be careful in dealing with all these things. Ours is to ensure that we gather evidence which is going to stand when we go to court. So we are investigating, but we don't rule out as to who is actually the perpetrator. Is somebody else lying? Is the suspect a probable witness that you would like to go to court with? Only that one. So there are those things that you have to keep in mind that let me investigate this in a professional way so that whenever I confront anyone who is known, I have got sufficient evidence.
Yeah. I'm sure you have seen that article, and one of the things that are coming out of that article, it says, I'm asking for anyone interested in this story to simply hear me out, because I have a lot to show and can even go as far as pointing anyone interested directly at who did what, with who, and how they did it. I'll even show the loopholes at the Hawks where things are hanging and why. Did you engage her on that?
Yeah, I think that I wouldn't like to be discussing this in the public space. She knows where the Hawks are, and then we will be engaging so that we deal with this matter in the way that it deserves to be dealt with. It is a sensitive matter. We are dealing with the potential threat to somebody else's life, not necessarily one, maybe more than one. So we have to be dealing with this thing with the complainant and not dealing with this in a public platform. It is not a safe platform.
Yeah. Maybe it's just we see a lot of television and how these things, for example, are being carried out, and we think this is precisely how things work out in real life. For example, where she says she reported to you, I told you that the hitman wants to meet me and to extort money from me. Do you at that point, General, then create some kind of a stakeout, some kind of a process where you then go and meet this individual to be able to apprehend and arrest them?
Yeah, you know, the method that we use to conduct this type of investigation is not what you want to be sharing in the public space. They are those type of matters that at times you need Section 252A of the Criminal Procedure Act, because you must be getting also some sort of authority that I am going to be doing something that looks like I am also committing a crime. Whereas I'm not committing crime, I'm gathering evidence. But these are the types of things that we wouldn't like to be indicating how we approach those. But I'm just indicating to you that there are several methods that we utilize. Which method must go and stand at court?
So, as we wrap up, I mean, for South Africans listening, and because this was so publicly put out there in our Sunday newspapers, they're hearing that there was an assassination plot on a whistleblower, and 400,000 rands could have been the amount that would have been given to the said assassin. 50,000 has already been given to facilitate the movement, and so on and so forth. We want to know, are the Hawks following up on this? Your simple answer to that would be?
We are following up on all of those leads.
General, appreciate your time. Thank you very much for joining us and coming on tonight. That is General Godfrey Lebeya, head of the Hawks. They are following up on all those leads.